the international community finally took a decision last year at this UN Environmental Assembly, where all the member states joined together to take decisions on the environmental agenda. And last year there was a very important decision, a resolution to end plastic pollution. With this approach, with an ending life cycle of plastics, but to create a new legally binding instrument at international level that should be agreed by 2024. So the negotiations between all the countries have already started, and by next year, this is quite an ambitious goal, a challenge, but all countries we expect that have agreed into a new global treaty addressing plastic pollutions by 2024. As mentioned, the process has already been kicked off. 2 meetings of this international negotiating committee already took place last year in Uruguay. Last month, the second meeting took place in Paris, in France. And this year we will have another meeting in Kenya, and 2 additional meetings will take place next year. And hopefully by the end of next year, we will shape a new global agreement to end plastic pollution. Of course, in parallel, it doesn't mean that we need to wait for the member states to reach an agreement and then to ratify and take action. Many countries in the region, particularly in the Caribbean, have taken action over the last years to take, for instance, to address the issue of single-use plastics. Of course, many lessons have been learned of doing that, but in the region, for instance, we have already identified that in at least 27 countries, some regulatory and policy action have already been conducted to address single-use plastics, for instance, plastic bags at national level or subnational level. So action is taking place, and this needs to be, of course, accelerated and enhanced. But all in all, this is where we are with the global perspectives, looking forward to have a positive outcome of these international negotiations, that afterwards this will need to be tailored to the specific circumstances. And that's why it's important that Caribbean countries are have a very active voice in these negotiations, because the Caribbean, as we all know, have very specific situations, the seats that will need to be considered by any global agreement.